Imagine two neighbors. They live right next to each other. Same street, same morning sun, everything looks peaceful. But behind their backs, each one is holding a stick. They don't show it. They don't talk about it. But it's there. Now imagine the stick. Isn't a stick. It's a nuclear weapon. Something so powerful, it can erase a city. Now zoom out. That street is the entire planet. And those neighbors are nuclear superpowers. So here's the question. What if the Cold War wasn't cold anymore? What if it turned hot? After World War II, the world didn't relax. It split in half. Two sides, two ways of thinking. They didn't fight directly. No tanks crashing, no bombs falling. That's why it was called the Cold War. It was like two kids, both holding scissors, both yelling, "Don't come closer." But what if one kid takes a step forward? Just one step. No yelling, no warning. That's our question today. What if the Cold War turned into World War III? On one side, you had the West, the United States, its allies, strong economies, modern technology, and a deep belief that their system was the right one. On the other side, the Soviet Union and its allies, different rules, different values, a system built on control, security, and fear of being surrounded. The world wasn't just divided, it was locked in place. Every country had to choose, pick a side, or risk being crushed in between. This balance had a name: mutually assured destruction. It meant something very simple. If you destroy me, I destroy you too. As long as nobody pressed the button, everyone survived. Not because they trusted each other, but because they feared the outcome. Nukes weren't just stored, they were ready, hidden underwater, waiting, silent, always listening for an order. Deep underground, missiles stood upright, fueled, armed, waiting for a signal that might never come. In the sky, bombers flew long patrols, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, just in case. Today was the day. And regular people? They lived normal lives, went to work, raised kids, but deep down, they knew the risk. The world kept spinning, but the clock was always ticking. All it needed was one mistake. One quiet night, when nothing special is supposed to happen, a radar screen suddenly lights up. Small dots appear, slowly, silently, and right away, everyone knows something is wrong. One officer is watching the screen. He leans forward. Because those dots look exactly like incoming missiles. Not one, not two, but many. The alarm doesn't scream yet. It doesn't panic. It just blinks, softly, calmly, as if it's saying, "I might be wrong." But the clock doesn't care. It starts counting down, minute by minute, second by second. They have very little time to decide what those dots really mean. If the attack is real and they don't respond, their cities disappear. Their people disappear. Everything they know is gone. But if the alarm is wrong, if it's just a mistake, and they press the button anyway, they become the ones who started it. No one talks about this moment. No crowds, no flags, no heroes. Just one person, alone, with the weight of the world on their hands. And this time, after all the waiting, after all the doubt, the decision is made. The first weapons are launched, but the world doesn't end. Not yet. These are not nuclear weapons. They are regular missiles, the kind used in wars people think they understand. Fighter jets take off. Warships leave their ports. Every move feels familiar, almost routine. And that makes it feel safer than it really is. The fighting spreads fast, across borders that once mattered, across oceans that once felt far away. Because this isn't one war, it's many promises pulling at once. Cities are struck, not erased, but shaken. Windows shatter, lights go dark, normal life pauses, without warning. People run underground, basements, shelters, subways. They don't debate politics, they just want quiet. And safety. Inside secure rooms, leaders talk. They draw lines. They count losses. Each side tells itself the same story. We can stop before it gets worse. Factories turn on their lights again. Trucks move day and night. Ships cross oceans non-stop. War stops being an emergency. It becomes a process. Navies face each other at sea, so close, so careful. Everyone waits, because the first mistake will not be small. At home, screens glow all night. People fall asleep to the news and wake up checking it again. They're not asking who will win. They're asking when it will stop. For now, nuclear weapons stay silent, locked, hidden. Their silence is supposed to feel comforting, but it doesn't. Every battle adds pressure. Every funeral adds anger. And pressure doesn't disappear. It waits. And slowly, the war stops asking, "Can we control this?" It starts asking, "How long before someone loses control?" Far below the surface of the earth, there is a room designed for the end of the world. It doesn't look dramatic. It looks quiet, almost boring. This is where nuclear decisions are made, slowly, carefully, and only when nothing else seems to work. The reports keep coming in, and each one is worse than the last. Bases are gone. Ships are sinking. Allies are calling, asking how much longer they can survive. The fear inside the room is simple and very human. If the enemy launches first, there may be no second chance, no response, no recovery. Nuclear strategy follows a cruel rule. If you wait too long, you lose everything. So the logic becomes terrifyingly simple. Use them, or lose them. The tools come out. Keys, codes, briefcases that were never meant to be opened. They were built to scare enemies, not to be used. No one says nuclear war. The words feel too heavy. Instead, they say things like final option, last step. Words that make the decision sound smaller than it really is. The missiles wait underground, perfectly still. They don't know politics. They don't know fear. They only know instructions. The system demands more than one person, more than one key. So no one feels fully responsible, and everyone feels responsible. And then, after decades of planning, after years of warnings, the first nuclear weapon is launched. One launch confirms every fear, every assumption. Other nations don't wait. They respond immediately. Some people see a bright light in the distance, too bright, too sudden. For a brief moment, they think it's the sun. Then the sound arrives, then the heat, then the shock wave, and the world they knew is gone. This doesn't happen once or twice. It happens again and again and again. At this point, there is no pause button, no apology. The path forward is already chosen. And now, the war is no longer about power or victory. It's about who survives, what comes next. The war ends quickly, not because someone wins, but because there is nothing left to fight over. Cities don't burn anymore. They simply stop. Some people survive the blast, by chance, by distance. They step outside and realize the world feels wrong. The sky changes first. Ash rises. Sunlight fades. Day and night begin to look the same. When sunlight is blocked, the planet cools. Not a little. A lot. This is what scientists call nuclear winter. Plants need sunlight and warmth. Without them, harvests fail everywhere. At the same time, Modern life depends on systems: food delivery, fuel, electricity. When one fails, the others follow. Hospitals are gone. Medicine is rare. Small injuries become deadly. Old diseases return. Many governments stop functioning. Not dramatically, they simply fade away. Without systems, people rely on instincts, family, small groups. Trust becomes rare. Some children survive, but they grow up in a world that never knew peace. From space, the planet looks calm. No explosions, no borders, just a quieter Earth. There are no winners here, only survivors. And even survival comes with a cost. And yet, life continues. The question is not whether humanity survives, but what kind of world it chooses to build next. The world doesn't restart. It doesn't rebuild all at once. Instead, it breaks into smaller pieces, small groups, small communities. People stay close to those they trust, because distance is dangerous now. Most modern technology disappears. No internet, no GPS, no instant answers. The world becomes quiet again. Knowledge becomes more valuable than money. Knowing how to grow food, how to fix tools, how to treat wounds, these skills decide who lives longer. Children learn a different world. They don't memorize maps of countries. They learn where food grows, where danger lives. This becomes their normal. There are no superpowers anymore, no global leaders. Power becomes local, very local. Strength means survival, not influence. Hope doesn't disappear. It just becomes smaller, quieter, something you protect instead of something you expect. This is the world after World War III. Not destroyed completely, but changed forever. And it leaves us with one final question. The Cold War never turned into World War III, not because it was impossible, but because it was avoided, again and again. Most people never see the moments that matter most. Quiet meetings, delayed orders, decisions not to act, moments where the world almost ended and didn't. The weapons didn't disappear. They're still here, still waiting, silent reminders of what humans are capable of building. So the real question was never, what if the Cold War became World War III? The real question is, why it didn't. And the harder question is, will we always be that lucky? If this story mattered to you, help keep it alive.